Vitaly Laletin wasn't happy after the Kamil Jablonski match and he doesn't want to arm wrestle him anymore. Vitaly also gave his opinion about the chances that Prime Siplenkov may have had against this version of Levan Saginashvili. And also the Brian Shaw video in which Devon was teaching him about arm wrestling was kind of all over the place. We'll discuss all of these topics in this video. First of all, it's getting really awesome that almost all of the European arm wrestlers have also started to get really focused on social media promotion of arm wrestling matches. I mean, Kamil Jablonski isn't even having a match against Morozov or Vitaly Laletin and he's still trash talking them. So how good is that? Vitaly was asked about his left and right arm comparison by Engin Terzi. Not that it is a very important topic, but it kind of clears the doubts that some of us may have had about which one is Vitaly's stronger arm. Vitaly said that his left is slightly stronger in almost all of the areas. And Engin also said that if you had $100,000, which arm match would you have against ARTYOM Morozov? And Vitaly said that he will have a left arm match, and in that match Morozov can also use his right arm and he would still beat him. And he also said that he can hook Morozov and still beat him there. Although he wouldn't try that in the first few rounds, but he can try that after he has already won the super match. But unfortunately, if we're talking about the left arm matches, ARTYOM Morozov, as per Engin Terzi, would not be having any super matches for next 5-6 months because he has been arm wrestling constantly for many years. It's good to see that sometimes Engin Terzi, I'm not saying that this is the case in this match, but sometimes Engin Terzi acts like a guardian as well to these younger arm wrestlers. When they are winning and competing so frequently, he doesn't ask them. He sometimes tells them that you need to have some rest and I'm not going to give you some matches now. Vitaly also told Engin that Kamil Jablonski needs to learn how to arm wrestle properly, and until then he wouldn't be having any rematch against the Golden Dragon. When Engin asked what's the problem about his style, is it because you cannot beat that guy comfortably, or is it because of some other reason? So first of all, Vitaly talked about the hands touching the shoulders, which is kind of illegal, and he said that it happened a couple of times in our match. Kamil's shoulder was touching his hand and that shouldn't have been allowed, but unfortunately the referee didn't pay attention to that. And then he was talking about Kamil's head crossing the center line of the table. Well, unfortunately for Vitaly, yes, he's complaining about that, but there is no rule against it in arm wrestling. If there was, half of the inside arm wrestling matches would result in fouls and losses. So fortunately for us, there isn't a rule like that. So if Vitaly doesn't like that style on his left arm, which is the stronger arm, then he may have had some troubles in the Jerry Cadret match as well. And that's also something that Engin Terzi did point out in that interview. But Vitaly said that he's not happy that that match cancelled because we all need to find out who the better man between him and Jerry was. But still, that style is not the most likable thing to Vitaly Laletin. Vitaly was asked in another interview who would win between Prime Denis and Prime Levan. So the answer was not shocking to me because maybe there is some mutual love and understanding between Georgia and Russia here. So Vitaly said that Levan is basically lucky that he did not get to face Prime version of Siplenkov, because Siplenkov during those days had amazing stopping power in an open arm. And that's something that Levan couldn't have dealt with, and Denis would have beaten him in that super match if it ever happened. But right now, Siplenkov's chances of coming back to his prime are pretty slim because he's over 42 years old and he doesn't seem to be as big as he once used to be. So unfortunately, we are not going to see that shape from Siplenkov one more time. Vitaly is very clear about how and when he can and he should have a rematch against Levan Saginashvili, the revenge match for the 2018 match, in which Vitaly rose to fame after giving some good fight to Levan in the first round. So Vitaly said that first he needs to beat ARTYOM Morozov, then Hermes Gasparini, and then he can start thinking about Levan Saginashvili. When asked about Devon, Vitaly said that Devon is mentally really strong and that's how he defeats most of his opponents. The prime example is the Hermes Gasparini super match. But about their own possible super match, Vitaly said that maybe it is not going to happen because when he gripped up with Devon, maybe he crushed his hand too much, maybe he twisted his hand too much, that Devon, he didn't really say that, but that's what he meant, that Devon got kind of scared and now He's kind of running away from this super match. He does not want any part of Vitaly Laletin. And to be honest, around those times, Devon was accepting this fact that Vitaly is one guy that scares me a bit and I do not want to face him ever. These are the things that Devon has actually said. So maybe Vitaly is right, but this version of Devon has proven a lot more than Vitaly Laletin. We can compare some matches between Hermes Gasparini, Dave Chaffee and some others as well. So now Devon LARRATT and Brian Shaw, the training, the coaching video. So Devon taught Brian everything about arm wrestling, starting from a chalked up arm wrestling handshake to basic and advanced arm wrestling stance, getting a higher grip, getting a deeper grip, climbing, outside arm wrestling, top roll, low hand top roll and some more top roll. So why am I saying that this video was kind of all over the place? I'm hoping that some clips were adjusted by the editor and that's not the way, that's not the sequence in which Devon taught Brian these things, because Devon was going all out on outside arm wrestling, and somewhere around that he tells Brian Shaw to be extremely tight, his elbow should be in front of his belly button, and that's how he always should be. Well, it's advisable that even in outside arm wrestling you should not separate too much from your body, but it's inevitable. There's not a single guy in this world who can keep his arm tight to the body while outside arm wrestling. It's just not possible. And the other thing was that Brian Shaw seems to be a naturally inside arm wrestler, and Devon also said that his inside game is already kind of sorted out. He seems to be good there. So a complete beginner who is a complete inside arm wrestler is getting his first coaching about complete outside arm wrestling. This is kind of strange to me. Well, we can throw the Travis Bagent argument here, because Travis used to say, or he still says, that I can only teach you what I know. So if I'm teaching you hook arm wrestling, I'm kind of doing injustice to you and to myself. But with Devon, this is not the case. Devon is versatile everywhere. He could have easily taught Brian about inside arm wrestling as well. And it's kind of understandable that for the first year or two maybe, you need to focus mostly on your strengths, and until you start winning some matches, you shouldn't really try to develop multiple arm wrestling styles. At one moment, Devon was basically trying to teach Brian Shaw the same technique that he applied to defeat Denis by going in and out and side pressure surges multiple times. And I'm quite sure that went way over Brian Shaw's head. So overall, Brian Shaw seemed to be really happy and appreciative of the information that Devon gave him. And he clearly mentioned that he needs to look back at the videos, because at once, the information was way too much for him. Hopefully, he gets a grasp of these basic arm wrestling techniques. Well, Devon did not teach him the basics, but he first learns the basics the most, and then maybe he can start focusing on these things as well. Thanks for watching, like the video and subscribe.